večer podojí, na večer podojí. Hej, ved nami podojí, ta naša bačovka bude ísť nadháňať.
On with the dance. Now chase the glowing hours with flying feet. No sleep till morn, when movie makers meet to film at midnight on a Slovak village street. The morning sky that ends their day starts it for others far away. Good Wenceslas, still guarding there, Jan Hus, the martyr, in Prague Square. And 12 apostles in the tower warn modern Czechs 'tis waking hour.
Judges.
5 a.m. in North Bohemia. Joseph Rosinek, master artisan in glass and crystal. His wife, Gerda. Joseph and Gerda Rosinek both work at the same plant, the famous Novi Bor Works, as does their daughter Sonia, a 19-year-old designer.
Sonia! Sonia! Sonny, vstávej!
Už je 5.
Joseph's creations have won many state prizes and are much in demand abroad, in countries where he has never been able to travel. The Rosinek's flat is the upper story of a house once owned by his mother, who now lives downstairs. A short, peaceful walk to work for 6 a.m. Eastward in Moravia, the village of Čekovice. The widow Sasvatova has one daughter who comes home on weekends to the family cottage. Mondays, Jarmila travels some 70 kilometers by bus and commuter train to be at work by 5:30. Friendships are very important, but marriage is far in the future. Jarmila gives money to her mother each pay and also is saving for her dowry. But a decent flat for a young couple means 4 to 6 years on a waiting list, so there's no hurry to get serious.
Nepojď. Tak Vášo, pojď do školky, slyšíš? Pojď.
Vasek Schwetz must also rise early. It's harder for a 5-year-old, but he has to make nursery school before 6 o'clock.
Tak co, jak jsi se vyspala dneska?
Co, dobře, ty? Vašiku, pojď snídat, pojď. To jsem se vysí. Žaličko.
His father, Václav, his mother, Hermana, and his 10-year-old sister, Marcella, have all been up before him, preparing for regular school and work. The Schwetz are proud of their comfortable one-bedroom apartment, but both parents must work to have a reasonable standard of living, and that doesn't include babysitters. Like all institutions, the nursery school is state-owned and is part of the operations of the nearby pencil factory, where Mr. and Mrs. Schwetz work. Formerly the mansion of the factory owner, the building now serves 60 children with a staff of 10 women, including domestic help.
Dobrý den. Tak, Mirošku, jak jsi se vyspinkal? Svetr. Tak, dáme na ramínko. Tak, Flici, podívej se. Vám blžší vítr dneska. Dneska je počasí. Tak, to já už poprosím. Kačko je si ven. Co? Větší boty.
The teachers are professionally trained in the Karl Orff method of musical instruction. Parents of all the children must work at the pencil factory. Offices, however, don't start until 8, and in cities like Prague, the morning streets are crowded with white-collar workers, students, shoppers, visitors, casual pedestrians, and the still sleepy night shift. Tourists usually breakfast late, and around 9:30 they can be seen in the restaurants and cafes. This American family includes a face famous all over the world of sport, together with his wife and daughter. A native son, Stan Mikita, returning home to a family gathering in Slovakia.
A do vejšky hezky pro kamion truce, já řeknu přípravu a změna na ptáky. A šup. A hodně nahoru. Nadechnout, vydechnout, nadechnout, vydechnout, vydechnout. A dosednem jako...
At the Balustrade Theatre in Prague, Ladislav Fialka has his world-famous pantomime group sweating in rehearsal by 10 o'clock.
I hope that pantomime is very good art for me. I am lazy to learn foreign languages. My English is very bad, my French is bad, my German is bad, my Russian is bad. And that's very good for me to make something without language. When I was in Montreal in Canada, I have played very difficult places, drama without languages, and all peoples understand me. French Canadian, English Canadian, without problems. In this moment are only the peoples in audience and we as peoples on the stage. And I hope that's the first thing in our life, to be peoples. That's not interesting if we are Czech or Russian or German or Canadian. We all are peoples and we have only one language, that's the language of our heart.
High-quality Koh-i-Noor pencils polished by Mrs. Schwetz for export to 26 countries, including Canada.
A jak se ti dělají ty sypy? Ano? Máte to na značky? Dobře, všechno?
At the Schwitt Works, formerly owned by Bata, Jarmila works on fancy quality women's winter boots for export only to Canada and other northern countries. For amusement, the Czechs often put their own words to foreign songs. Today, at the Novi Bor Works, it's turtles for Joseph Rosinek. Tomorrow, perhaps, hedgehogs, frogs, or crystal fish. Men of his degree of craftsmanship work only to order, short runs of special designs. They are inheritors of a centuries-old tradition, working all their lives in the same place, often where their fathers worked before them. Since 1948, new plant investment has been directed more towards heavy industry by state policy. The agricultural cooperatives, like farmers everywhere, work as the seasons and crops dictate. Many collectives specialize, but the New Life farm around Kachica in central Bohemia is suited to mixed farming and is considered to be one of the more successful collectives. Pivo, beer, the Czech national beverage. Each good-sized collective has a general manager and an agronomist or scientific agriculturalist to supplement the farmer's traditional knowledge.
Pracuji v družstvu od roku 1959, to znamená 8 roků.
He's been here about 8 years since graduating from agricultural school at Brno. Has a wife and 2 daughters. They like it here fairly well. The farm has 3,600 acres, just over 50% in cereals, wheat, barley, oats, and rye. The rest in fodder plants, sugar beets, potatoes, and other vegetables such as strawberries. The livestock section breeds cattle, pigs, and horses, and keeps bees. There is a machinery section to maintain all the tractors, carts, and harvesters. They have a management committee which meets weekly to coordinate the varied work and plan ahead. Grain yield, on the average, 3,400 weight per acre. Hay almost twice that. Vegetables, of course, much higher, and they hope to do better.
Já si také sednu stejně tak jako vy. Dívejte se pěkně na mě. Děti. Pec nám spadla, do bagnány postaví. Starý pecař není doma a mladý to neumí. Zavoláme na dědek šlatem má velké kladivo. Tak do toho 4 rány a už je to hotovo.
State Castle. Kluboka in South Bohemia. "700 years of history surround today's summer tourists. Come to see how the other half once lived." Glazed china stoves, tended from the rear by servants inside the walls. Portraits of the Schwarzenbergs. The Duchess Pauline accidentally burned to death at a ball in Paris in 1830. Dutch Rococo cabinet of the 18th century. Walnut inlaid with ivory, tortoise shell, and precious metals.
Velikánská rokoková kamna. Do podobných kamen, která se viděli tady už během prohlídky na tom velkém okruhu, do těch se vždycky topí zvenku schodek.
Several dozen Delft china miniatures hung about a hand-painted Gothic ceiling, framing a crystal chandelier of the 19th century.
A tady kolem dokola na stěnách pak je umístěno několik portrétů. Zajímavý je právě tady ten, který představuje kněžnu Prahe.
Time sometimes hung heavy on aristocratic hands. Its passage, therefore, was made more amusing.
Já jsem náhodou uvařila v Paříži na plese v roce 1810. A tady ten portrét představuje kněžnu Pavlínu ještě v mladších letech, jako za svobodna. Jinak ty portréty, to jsou její vrstevníci z rodu Schwarzenberg, částečně z Lobkoviců. Kněžna Pavlína byla taky zručnou malířkou. Všimněte si všechny ty talířky, které zdobí tady ty...
In 144 rooms, 15,000 precious things. Enough in one family's hunting lodge to flood the antique markets of the world. This is only a small entrance hall or waiting room, and most of the real treasures lie beyond. In Krumlov Castle nearby, an 18th century prince summoned a painter from Vienna to create a hall of masks where entertainments might be held.
Št, nechme ho o samotě rozím, ať chudák, jak si ustál, může spát. Ať spí, jak městský floutek po bálu.
Now it's a people's summer theatre.
Chtějí mít svůj rozum, vlastní mínění, v podrážděného lva se promění. Najdi však notu k jeho písničce, buď poražena v každé potyčce a hleď, ať rozum tvůj ho nezastíní.
The secrets of how to manage men in an age when women theoretically had no power of their own.
Něčemu aspoň rozuměl bych rád. Vysvětli mi přec. Mně to jasné není.
Maiden Promises by Alexander Fredro, a 200-year-old drawing room comedy, much in the style of Sheridan. Everyone, of course, will wind up married, but never to the one they started off to chase. The South Bohemian Theatre Ensemble, one of the state repertory companies located in every good-sized town. There are 32 professional groups in Prague alone. By now, the sun is high and hot. The pools of the Podoli Swimming Club in Prague are busy with vacationers, including Stan Mikita of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Got enough grounds here for close to 5,000 people.
There's probably that many people here today.
Pretty damn close to it.
Hello.
Hi, Louis.
Hello, Chia.
How are
Hi,
you?
Louis. How are you?
Thank you.
See ya.
And how are you?
Fine, thank you.
And here's our general secretary.
Cisarowski of Sparta, manager.
General manager of the Sparta Athletic Club of Prague.
Oh, very nice.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Od Sparty a Sparta klubu.
From Sparta organization and for you.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yes.
No, he looks a little bit like Tommy Ivan, our general manager. Oh, hey, you're getting too old for that.
Wherever international hockey players meet, it's the same topic. How good are the Russians this year?
He won't be better than NHL teams, yes. This is his idea, yes. And he have very new progressive training methods, practices, yes. And they working, yes.
Well, what do you think?
When we want with him competition, yes, we must working. Like,
just as hard or harder?
Yes, harder,
No,
yes.
but I mean Canadians and the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Montreal Canadiens.
Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah, how do you think they would compare against your national team here or against the Russians? Or a team like Chicago?
Yes, I think that is very difficult because you have different rules.
Different rules.
Yes,
That's what I said the other day, yeah.
It's the same. We don't know fighting here, yes.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
You haven't run across any John Fergusons,
with you, yes, and fight is impossible here, yes. If I will have fight, I have 3 weeks penalty.
I couldn't believe the importance that the people put on the hockey player. I would be walking around downtown in Chicago and a few of the people might say hello and you know what happened in the playoffs and so on, but here it's almost like worshiping God if you're a hockey player. I can't seem to take 2 steps without people recognizing me, and I'm 5,000 miles from home.
Come on out here.
June 10th, 1942, the village of Lidietza, all male inhabitants massacred, all women and children deported to Germany. The village obliterated by Nazi SS troops in savage reprisal for Czech resistance. Now an international monument and rose garden, protesting forever the evils of fascism and the sorrows of a small country which has many times been occupied by powerful and ruthless neighbors. In a state limousine, the famous number 21 of the Blackhawks heads eastward towards Slovakia and home, towards the family from which circumstances separated him as a small boy, towards the mountains, pastures, and villages he has never forgotten. A long journey back in time for Stanom Mikitom. For his wife Jill and daughter Meg, a first look at the ancient heartland of Central Europe.
The scenery of the country is absolutely beautiful. There are mountains, just numerous mountains, and it's a rolling country, and it's extremely green. It's rich. Could be rich in agriculture, I would imagine. And the castles, well, this is something that is dear to me because I'd never really seen a castle before. And Czechoslovakia has numerous, by that I say, I believe they have 1,000 castles. These are symbols that have never been touched, have never been destroyed. And the people live for these, or they don't live for these, but they know that this was their background. And I honestly believe that these castles will always stand, only being destroyed by weather. They actually will never be removed under normal circumstances. The people will never destroy them. The first time I ever saw this warmth between people, this amount of warmth between the same sex, male or female, has been here. I've always seen it in a mixed situation. We saw this quite often. Let's say two girls on bicycles riding down the road, and they would be holding hands. A feeling of friendliness and admiration and sincerity between the two people. It meant nothing more than this, and it's lovely to see because we never see it at home. We would probably frown upon it if we saw it at home. It is amazing to see the amount of women in their workforce here. As you drive along a highway or a road, the women are in the fields pitching hay, or they are driving the cattle, or they are tending the sheep. And every woman works, which is something that I myself, as an American, and I'm sure many Canadian women, would not be able to understand this. That many times we find it difficult to maintain our home, let alone working, due to the fact that the women work and the men work, and the children, actually everyone works here. I honestly believe that there's greater unity amongst, everyone is the same, everyone is practically on the same level, and I believe that the people get along beautifully together. They're all working toward the same thing.
On the way east, midsummer holiday and folk festivals in many towns. This most modern thinking of nations takes care to preserve its past as part of its cultural survival. Start work at 5, 5:30 or 6. Finish at 1, 1:30 or 2. No regular lunch hour, just refreshment breaks at the factory canteen. If you have to work this hard, the Czechs prefer to do it early. In winter, the mornings are rough, but the long afternoons are precious in summer. Half an hour to go at Novi Bor. Ornamental crystal for foreign exhibitions such as Expo. Flasks. Flying fish. And the famous matched brandy snifters of Bohemia. It's been a long, hot day. Beer goes well, and light grades are available in most factory canteens. Even better for the younger apprentices, a frolic with the girl helpers in the plant reservoir. to be young again. Rasinek and his old friends will soon be working in a large modern installation built nearby under a construction agreement with the Yugoslavs. During the week, Jarmila lives in a dormitory near her work. There is no cafeteria, but several separate kitchens, so the girls shop and cook together in groups of friends. Besides being sold abroad, the heavy industrial products of Czechoslovakia are traded by the state for consumer products from the other socialist countries. The average Czech often complains that the trading methods are clumsy and that the ratios of exchange are disadvantageous for him. In the state stores, price and quality are controlled. Few competing brands, no competitive packaging, but little variety of choice and sometimes erratic supply. Those without adequate home refrigeration shop every day.
Ráno, chlapci. Co máte? Měřko? A ty? Dobre. Však si mal viacej vlasov.
At Gottwaldorf, Mikita is invited to work out with the national hockey team.
They seem to train 11 and a half or almost 12 months of the year, which is unbelievable by Canadian standards. I really don't think that the hockey players should train for as long as they do. They seem to get sick and tired of it. I know I talked to a few of the boys and they seem to think that it's really too much. Actually, they're on the ice 2 weeks out of every month in the summertime, and this gets to be a bore with everybody concerned, including the coaches. You're not taking it below the waist, are you?
Demu. Má nějakou horší, ta než...
Manto? Keď sa vlete do vajíčka, no čo?
To máš tady. Pak na to.
As far as the caliber of hockey, I really don't think that the Czechs could compete with the let's say Toronto Maple Leafs or the Montreal Canadiens. But a few of the boys on the club could actually play in a National Hockey League. They're not allowed to smoke, they're not allowed to drink. I imagine some of them have a beer now and then, but they're in terrific shape. The longer the game goes on, the stronger they get. I think they might give us a little trouble as far as conditioning goes.
In the international?
Well, they have their own problems in life, just the same as we do in Canada and the States. Maybe they're magnified a little more over here. They don't have the luxuries, and this is an escape for them to go to a hockey game, scream and holler and shout their heads off, whereas we in Canada are interested more in different things rather than hockey. But the people in Montreal and Toronto, it's quite a rivalry between those two cities. And it's the same here between Bratislava and Prague, let's say. Now, they come on like gangbusters when they play each other. And also, speaking of international competition between the Russians and the Czechs, it's a great rivalry between these two countries, one trying to outdo the other.
In Prague, a matinee by Fialka's company. Checkmate, the finer points of chess in a busy cafe. At the Belvedere, the former Royal Summer Pavilion on the heights above Prague.
Ľudka?
Áno.
Vierka. Ako ty? Hello, mama. No. On neplač.
Neplače, vrata som stajko rada.
Viem. Jurko, ako sa máš? No. Dobre, že si prišiel. Áno. To je moja žena. Jill, this is my brother, George. It's Grandma, Meg. You gonna give her a kiss? It's Grandma.
Margaretka, a Nidanka tvoja.
Hej. Sa hambí.
Daj mi takú.
Give Grandma a kiss. I'll give her
Hej, mamičkine Prahy, čo vás prekračali moje biele nohy. Čo vás prekračali moje zdravie ostávajte. Hej, mamičkine kľúčky, čo vás zatvárali moje biele ručky. Čo vás dala si ma mamko, hej, ďaleko od seba, aby ti nejedla z každej pece chleba.
Back home to Sokolce, where nothing seems changed, but as with all of us, everything has changed.
Anyone would have to agree that the people were absolutely out of this world. They were the most friendly, warm people you could ever meet anywhere. They couldn't do enough for you, and you could do nothing to repay them. I'm sure that their past tradition has to have something to do with their warmth and their understanding of people from another country. There are too many of us, Americans and Canadians, who come to foreign countries where we are the foreigner and we do not speak their language. We always feel that we can find someone that will speak our language, which is not the way it should be. We should have the initiative to learn the language of the country we're going to visit. These people have been so understanding of me and have tried to help me in so many ways that I am slowly but surely picking up their language in the short time I've been here. And it's only through their warmth and their understanding that I could do it.
Tak.
Řekni dobrou noc. Dobrou noc řekni. A den.
8 o'clock to bed for Vášek and Český Budějovice. His sister gets to stay up until 9, finishing her homework.
Tati,
No,
co je to Korán?
Korán, to se.
Daddy, what is the Koran?
Ukaž, co to máš? No, to je něco jako si u nás Bible, víš?
It's a kind of an Arab Bible.
Tak jdi, já teď mě nech.
Václav collects and writes down folk songs as a hobby.
Hezky spinky.
Dětská teda.
At Gotwaldov, a bedtime treat for the dormitory. The husband of one of the girls, away on his compulsory army service, has sent her a birthday present.
Já tak co celý ukážu. Až ta poslední to dostane celé, ne?
Které je dobré.
Já ne, ty si musíš vybrat sama. Dobrou noc.
The Czechs believe old loves are best. Though oft deceived, they still look west.
My bunny is so worthy ocean. My bunny is so the sea. My bunny is so the ocean. Bring back my bunny to me. My bunny is over the ocean. My bunny is over the sea. My bunny is over the ocean. Bring back my bunny to me. Bring back, oh bring back my bunny to me, to me. Bring back, oh bring back my bunny to me. Last night when I laid on my pillow, last night
on with the dance. Let joy be unconfined. No sleep till morn, when youth and pleasure meet to chase the glowing hours with flying feet.
Back, back, oh bring back my body.
But once again the arc lights burn. The actors wait, the cameras turn, and round the sun, this world of ours has spun its 24 hours.